This first keynote speech today addresses collaboration, communication and adaptive leadership, some of the key topics of our Project Nexus conference. He talks to navigating organisational changes in defence. So Rear Admiral David Mann, CSC RAN, is ideally placed to speak to this. His extensive experience in the Defence Force has seen him posted all over Australia in myriad roles, including prestigious joint postings. He's had deployments in East Timor and the Middle East. He's been awarded a Conspicuous Service Medal, as well as a United States Legion of Merit for his work. Following his promotion to his current role, he assumed a newly created role of Head Joint Capabilities. This presentation will focus on the organisational changes which resulted from the release of the Defence Strategic Review, the National Defence Strategy and Integrated Investment Program. We're so delighted to have him here to speak to us today. Please welcome Rear Admiral David Mann.
Good morning, everyone, and I'd like to start this morning by acknowledging the Ngunnawal peoples, the traditional owners of the land on which we gather, and recognise any other people with connections to the lands and the waterways of the region. I recognise the importance of Sky Country and the significant role that celestial bodies play in traditional storytelling and lore. It is from these traditions that we in Joint Capabilities Group continue to shape our understanding and our wisdom as we move forward with our mission across the space and cyber domains. I would also like to pay my respects to the members of our integrated force that are on operations today. Whether they are deployed overseas or they're closer to home operating and defending our networks and bringing together the tactical pictures across all 5 of our domains. It should be the focus of our work within defence, across industry and academia and with our allies to provide these operators with the foundational capabilities they require now and into the future. I feel very fortunate to be here today to talk about the utility of adaptive leadership in navigating large organisational change. As many of you will be aware, the Australian Defence Force and the Department more broadly have undergone significant change in recent years. This reflects the challenging strategic environment we live in and the need to adapt rapidly and embrace changing technology. This is particularly true in my area, where I'm responsible for developing space and cyber capabilities. The Greek philosopher Publius Cyrus once said that anyone can take the helm when the ocean is calm. And for those of us that go down to the sea, we know this is true. But well before anyone can take a ship to sea, there are teams of specialists that have to understand the needs, develop the requirements, set performance specifications, develop designs and architectures, and of course secure funding and approvals. I think that Cyrus also acknowledged when the ocean is rough, when plans change or when things go wrong, that it takes specialists, dedicated leaders and professionals to take positive control, provide confidence and calm the oceans. For me, calming the oceans and turning those dreams and good ideas into reality is the realm of the project manager. Although I must be upfront with you, I'm not a project manager myself. I have, however, been an operator, a needs and requirements setter, an end user, and today an in-service manager. So today I'll start by setting the scene for how defence is changing. Then I'll look at some of the ways I believe communication and collaboration can help us respond and adapt to these changes. You can't watch the news or scroll on Facebook or listen to the radio without realising we as a nation are facing a number of challenges at the moment. We continue to recover from COVID-19 and attempt to minimise the control and effects of climate change, and also monitoring the deteriorating security situation and rising geopolitical tensions in our region and across the globe. Threats to our defence and security include terrorism, cyber attacks, natural disasters, and the real potential for miscalculation leading to contest and potentially conflict in our region. In April of this year, the government released the first National Defence Strategy to confirm its approach to addressing our most significant strategic risks. This document was born out of last year's Defence Strategic Review, which the federal government directed to identify the required strategic direction and structure of the Australian Defence Force to strengthen all of our national security. The review identified The strategic challenges within our near region and more generally across the globe continue to accelerate. Key features of this environment include increasing competition, large-scale military build-up, rising tensions and reduced warning times, and the effects of climate change. The 2024 National Defence Strategy proposed a fundamental reform of Australia's defence strategy, our planning, force generation, posture, structure, preparedness, employment and international engagement. The fundamental reforms were the catalyst for our change. These changes to the Defence Forces structure significantly impacted Joint Capabilities Group with a shift to an integrated force across 5 domains: the traditional air, land and sea, or maritime, and the air domains, and space and cyber domains. This shift has seen an increased focus on addressing our most significant strategic risks through the delivery of strengthened cyber capabilities and enhanced space capabilities. To achieve this direction, the government has allocated between $27 and $33 billion for space and cyber capabilities across the decade. Investing in space and cyber is critical to enhancing our integration across the ADF and with other allies. Our sailors, soldiers and aviators use the cyber terrain and related command and control capabilities to conduct their routine and operational tasks. In the defence context, space provides us weather monitoring, long-distance communications, intelligence and surveillance processes. Meanwhile, cyber empowers almost everything we do in our computer networks, our communication systems and command and control applications. The reach, coverage and endurance of the space and cyber domains is clearly a defining strength for our group. Joint Capabilities Group formed in 2017, and since this time we have faced change. The mission of Joint Capabilities Group is to prepare space and cyber power and logistics capabilities in order to enable the integrated force for competition and conflict if required. An essential aspect of this mission is the provision of standing components for space and cyber to the Chief of Joint Operations. These groupings of personnel and their equipment can be used to deploy with larger Army, Navy and Air Force groups to conduct missions and tasks either in a domestic or an international setting. The Chief of Joint Capabilities has 2 distinct capabilities and responsibilities. The first is a functional role, delivering theatre logistics support and sustainment to the entire ADF across the national support base. And the second is a domain role, where she leads the force generation of ADF capabilities in space and cyber domains in a similar way that the chiefs of the Army, Navy and Air Force do in the maritime, land and air domains. The Joint Capabilities Division, which I lead, has only been in its current structure for a little over 2 years. We have reshaped our organisation to focus directly on what the operational commands need to achieve. This adaptation has taken time, and we still have work to do in terms of how we operate and interact with our group, our colleagues broadly across defence, our key departmental stakeholders and central agencies of government, and particularly important for today, how we formalise our industry engagement across the domain. We have 3 branches that develop capability. The Space Capabilities Branch, which came from Air Force, and they support Space Command to deliver space domain awareness, space services and space control. The Joint Command, Control, Communications and Computer Branch, which supports our Cyber Operations Division, those that run our networks. They deliver projects related to the cyber terrain, our communications, tactical data links and warfighting networks and applications. And finally, our Joint Information Capabilities Branch supports Cyber Command. This team delivers projects focused on defensive cyber, electronic warfare, information effects, navigation warfare, and health knowledge management. Our ability to adapt and respond quickly is essential to ensure we can meet the government's direction. For me, this is about the common denominators of the people and the process. The key to being adaptive and lessening the impacts of change is therefore to seek balance, much like a spinning top or the natural occurrence of homeostasis. We need to understand the change, make the change, seek this new balance as a platform to launch new work, and then be ready for the next change. To be an integrated and focused force, our capability systems must be integrated across all the operational domains, making internal collaboration and clear requirement setting critical foundational steps. In our rapidly evolving domains, identifying our key stakeholders and engaging with them early and regularly as part of our overarching strategy is vital. Space operations and capability development are relatively new to the Defence Force, and the cyber landscape is rapidly evolving. We don't have the numbers of highly experienced subject matter experts that we would like, and our model needs to be more of a community of practitioners effect. We therefore seek experience, expertise and good old-fashioned horsepower from those in uniform, the public service in defence and across government, defence industry, academia and our international partners. Cross-functional or integrated project teams can help break down the silos that naturally form in organisations. They facilitate knowledge sharing and foster innovation. The integration of the end user throughout the development cycle to understand and test operational context of systems or products is essential, but unfortunately often overlooked. This is particularly prudent for those projects that have a longer gestation period, when needs and requirements or in a defence context, the threat can rapidly evolve. Our limited workforce can make establishing such teams difficult, and this can stress the limited number of subject matter experts that we have across all levels of the organisation. This underlines the importance of building relationships and structures early in the development cycle, establishing ground rules, work allocation, accountabilities, principles for operating and a common lexicon, which is even challenging within defence. Establishing and maintaining effective teams is fundamental. This task can be particularly challenging in a defence context for a number of reasons. The rotation of our uniform members can reduce the continuity of effort, and this, coupled with industry's workforce evolving demands, can often lead to team changes and disruption. Even with collaboration, a common purpose and a common language, natural tensions exist. While this may be inevitable, it can be effectively managed by proactively identifying potential sources of conflict and developing strategies to address them. But sometimes in the churn, issues can be lost. Time and resource constraints only serve to amplify this risk. At sea, the captain can't always be on the bridge, and their common direction to the watchkeepers is that I would rather be called many times, apparently unnecessarily, rather than just once, too late. Bad news does not get any better with time, and leaders must set the conditions for the open flow of information. The aviation community no-blame culture is a great model for open discussion of issues and the elevation of risk. The same is true for project management. Our aim should be to focus on solutions, not blame, encouraging teams to work together to identify and resolve issues earlier. The blame game reduces team cohesion, but the flip side of that is capturing and openly communicating lessons is incredibly important. Effective communications plays a vital role in successfully implementing organisational change, as it ensures clarity, fosters buy-in and minimises resistance across the teams. Change can often be unsettling, and clear, transparent communication helps alleviate uncertainty by explaining the reasons behind the change, the intended outcomes and how it will impact individuals and the organisation as a whole. This understanding allows our personnel to connect with the change at a personal level, increasing their willingness to embrace new initiatives. Communication also serves as a vehicle for aligning stakeholders on shared goals and expectations. Organisations can build trust and create a sense of ownership by involving employees early on and keeping them informed throughout the process. This proactive engagement and feedback, which is invaluable for identifying potential obstacles and refining the change process. Furthermore, open channels of communication facilitate collaboration that we're looking for across departments, helping break down those silos and promoting a unified approach. Leaders and managers, particularly project managers, play a crucial role in this, as they are often the main link between higher leadership and the frontline or working level employees, ensuring that messages are conveyed consistently and effectively. Contemporary adaptive leadership is also challenged by the mediums through which we communicate. Understanding the needs of your people and your stakeholders is paramount. The good old tradition of walking the floors is difficult in an age when many work from home or they work in a distributed fashion. Regular updates and town hall meetings, social media, feedback sessions of all descriptions enable a two-way dialogue, allowing leaders to address concerns about strategies and reinforce commitment to the change. Ultimately, communication is the linchpin that helps drive organisational change forward smoothly and sustainably. And although we might not call it outwardly adaptive leadership, we do, in essence, use this type of approach in our project management. In my view, adaptive leadership, which focuses on being flexible and responsive to changing requirements, is the ideal way to tackle the organisational change we are seeing within our department and more broadly across industry. The other common denominator is the process. Whether you're using Agile, Waterfall, Prince2, Lean Six Sigma or the Scrum methodology, they all offer an opportunity to enact process and find the balance. Lack of familiarity with the process will reduce its efficiency, and developing common understanding of the process is as valuable as establishing those human relationships. The project management triangle, the iron triangle, or the project triangle, however you like to describe the triple constraint of time, cost and scope, or in defence, cost, schedule and capability, is the time-honoured constant for project management and reporting. In a defence context, we have traditionally had the luxury of time, allowing us to maintain our cost and, importantly, with an operator focus, our warfighting capability delivery. The National Defence Strategy, however, clearly states we can no longer rely on our geography or warning time, constraining the schedule. Investment priorities are also set, constraining our finances. So our key area of flexibility into the future is the scope. And this has been the catalyst for Defence to adopt the minimum viable capability approach. A capability inclusive of support requirements or our fundamental inputs to capability that can successfully achieve the lowest acceptable level of the directed effect in the required time, able to be introduced into service and, importantly, sustained effectively. Minister Conroy supported this approach, recognising that the last 10% of capability is often the hardest to secure. And with a minimum viable capability approach, we'll look to accept a service into service, a platform at 80 to 85%, and then use iterative approaches to get to that 100%. As customers and end users rightly push their products sooner, stakeholders look to refine the process, change delivery approaches, or skip steps in the hope of offering speed to capability. Unfortunately, the result is often decreased assurance and a loss of confidence in the outcomes. Recognising optimism bias, developing realistic integrated master schedules as the underpinning component of the process is more important than ever. For me, it is the core that allows the system to assess progress and regain the balance. Things go wrong, unfortunately, quite often. In the book, How Big Things Get Done by Flyberg and Gardner, they found the average IT project overruns by 73%. When this happens, sometimes the people and the process is not enough. John Glenn noted in a Mandarin article last week that it is not that people aren't trying to do a good job, it's just that sometimes they dig a hole they can't get out of by themselves, and that people who dig holes defend them. The incremental departures from the baseline over time or normalised deviance can get lost in reporting and amplified by stakeholder change. A lack of a validated master schedule and the less than optimum governance and assurance processes are also to blame. In this scenario, the courage component of leadership is essential, and it is time to employ an audit or assessment specialist external to the project. I've seen in recent examples these audits provide the catalyst for rebaselining, resetting the team, negating whole digger defence. And the audit process can also be used in a more enduring sense to check adherence to procedures and map an enduring cultural and behavioural change. Adaptive leadership encourages managers to be open to change, to foster collaboration and involve team members in the problem solving. Since the team leader and senior leadership cannot possibly know everything, this approach is particularly valuable in capability development where shifting stakeholder needs, new technologies and unexpected issues can arise. Achieving the balance of encouraging and empowering our junior team members to use the process, use their expertise and innovate while supporting middle managers to meet regulatory and policy requirements is a force multiplier for project delivery. By embracing adaptive leadership, leaders and managers can better align their resources, maintain team morale and keep projects on track even in uncertain conditions, ultimately leading to more successful outcomes. In the capability development world, while many of our projects might take years to come into service, we need to be responsive and adaptable to these changes. The rapidly advancing technologies and requirements of the space and cyber domain further emphasise this requirement to adapt quickly. I believe the key to our success and your ability to find that balance and calm the oceans for everyone is our willingness to focus on the people and the process. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and speak with you today, and I wish you all the very best for the remainder of the conference. Thank you and fair winds.